You're listening to Snippets from the Summit with your host, Scott McKay.
Oh, how's it going, gentlemen? This is your main man, Scott McKay, coming at you again with another Snippet from the Summit as part of the Mountaintop podcast from X&Y Communications. Today, I want to talk to you guys about confidence. And here's the first point I want to make. Confidence itself is not universal for the vast majority of us. Perhaps you've seen an NBA player have the game of his life and in the TV interview afterwards looks like a deer in the headlights. Well, that's because the guy is really good at basketball and very confident about it, but when giving interviews and talking to people over a microphone, not so much. And in our own lives, we could be the exact opposite. We may be able to give presentations, but on the pickup basketball court at the YMCA, not so much. Well, that's the beauty of being human. Each of us has different abilities, different competencies, and confidence, almost by definition, is a belief in one's own competence. Now, for the purposes of this particular episode, however, I want to talk about how confidence is also fluid. In other words, it's not a monolithic state. You don't just one day decide, hey, I'm going to be confident about this particular endeavor or this particular skill or whatever it is you're about to do, and there you go. There is indeed a certain fluidity to confidence. And I'd like to propose this continuum to describe that. The first state is complete lack of confidence. You aren't sure at all whether or not you're able to do something competently. So that first step on the continuum is indeed lacking confidence. Well, from there, the next step is to go to a tentative state of confidence. In other words, you know what? I'm starting to feel like maybe I can do this. Maybe I should give it a try. Win, loss, fail, or whatever, I'm going to go for it, and, well, we'll see. That next step is what I call exuberance. And that's when you go ahead and try something and you go, man, I did it. It worked. I got this. I can do this. And then the next time around, you're going to be more than ready to try it again. I'm sure a lot of you guys are already equating what I'm talking about here to the scenario of approaching and meeting women, right? The first spot that most of us as boys or young men find ourselves in is we're not going to go approach women. It's not for us. It's for some other guy. I just don't know what I'm doing. Then we grab our balls and we give it a shot. And, we're not so sure how it's going to go. But when a woman gives us her number and she says yes, we're exuberant that it worked. And then we go try it again and voila, it works again. Because we have that confidence. And as I've told you guys 1,000 times already, the number one differentiator between men who get women and men who don't is that they believe women will want them. Women will say yes to them. So it's a confidence builder in the truest sense to start seeing success as you talk to women and get their numbers and go out with them. Now, the next step on the continuum is going to be a little controversial. And I think some guys skip this one and the next one, frankly. And I hope we would, because I think this is the darker side of confidence that I'm about to describe. Sometimes when we guys get good at something, we want to go get revenge or get compensation for where we failed. In other words, now that we know what we're doing, we're really going to stick it to the people who caused our failure in the past, whether that's merely our perception or something very real that's happened, instead of just letting it go and, being confident and moving along. Sometimes also we want to project failure onto other people or kind of even bully people with our newfound success where there was failure before. In other words, the tables are turned and now we're going to flex a little bit, which ends up putting us in this next space on the continuum, which is, becoming a douchebag or becoming imposing or always looking for competition with people to put them down to lift ourselves up. And yes, this is another dark side of being confident, right? Now that we're confident, now that we can stick it to other people, we're going to go looking for opportunities to do exactly that at the expense of others. Now, like I said, hopefully we'll be able to skip the revenge compensation projection component and the douchebag imposition competition component on this continuum and move maybe to the next one, which is being confident on autopilot, what Malcolm Gladwell would call unconscious competence, quietly basking in the glow of our ability to do something. We're not crowing about it. We're not looking for revenge. We're not looking to show off or take other people down or constantly get victories and simply get our jollies off of winning. We're just taking care of freaking business, getting the job done, and maybe other people will give us credit and acknowledge that and think we're great, or maybe they won't. But we know deep down that we're confident because we're competent, and that alone is good enough. So what's the pinnacle of this fluidity of confidence? What's that final end state, that self-actualization of competence, if you will? Well, I call it being over oneself. In other words, you have been so competent for so long that your confidence is innate. It's part of who you are. And indeed, when people give you accolades, when people say they're proud of you, when people say they think you're amazing, you take it in stride and probably turn the conversation back to the speaker and ask them about how they are and what they're up to. You're not needy even in the slightest bit for accolades based on what you're confident about. And here's the thing. Once you're over yourself, you get outside of yourself and you start saying, hey, how can I make the world a better place? How can I give this away? How can I completely lack the provinciality within my own ego to try to keep this for myself and start helping the next generation be better, more confident in their competence? How can I pay it forward? And that, gentlemen, we can all understand Mark's a really cool guy who's very influential over other people, which is what many of us, I think, really hope and trust the end state of our endeavors in this life at whatever we're good at, whatever we're best suited to, whatever our calling is, will actually be. So you can see why confidence is not only all important for yourself, it also actually ultimately makes the world a better place because of your mindset. Want to talk about this or anything else? Scott at mountaintoppodcast.com. Be good out there.
As always, visit mountaintoppodcast.com for more.